Okay, Hunter, we're live.
Okay. My name is Hunter Morrison. I'm the planning consultant for the City of Youngstown, and this is the virtual meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals and City Planning Commission held on Tuesday, October 30th, 2020 at 1:30 p.m. via Zoom. We have a quorum of the members, and we can begin with the first case, which is zoning ordinance 2062, or reference number 17-20. This is a request by Ron Carlos Hilton to change the zone classification of Youngstown City lot number 1441 and 1440 from RT 5.5 1 and 2 family residential to MUC mixed use community. The property is located at 2304 Hillman. And hopefully we're going to share a screen. Okay. Very good. Okay. This is the property in question. I'm sorry, the orientation is a little odd. Hillman runs north-south and St. Louis runs east-west. This is a property located at the corner of Hillman and St. Louis. It's a formerly commercial building, which we believe in an earlier rezoning was rezoned for residential. The applicant wants to restore this property to its original commercial purpose as a convenience store. Is Mr. Hillman here to present on this?
Yes, I'm here. And I'm trying to do a grocery store, but we have to do a small scale.
Do you like me to come in before you?
I'm sorry, we need to, I apologize, Debbie. We have a court reporter and all witnesses must be sworn in. So Mr. Hillman, would you be sworn in, please?
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Hillman, you have the microphone.
Yes. It was formerly commercial. I believe it used to be like a foot doctor and like kind of they had out there, but I'm trying to convert it back to a full-fledged grocery store. And we had to do a small scale. Probably had to scale it down just a little bit just to try to get what we need. We got funding in place. We just really need the zoning changed. I mean, that's pretty much been my hold up because I can't no inspections. I can't keep on doing what I'm trying to do without the zoning being changed.
I would note that the property across the street, across St. Louis in the pink, is a zone mixed use community, even though it appears to have a residential use on it. And the properties on across Hillman at 2301 and 2307 Hillman are a barber beauty shop. So what Mr. Hilton would be requesting is essentially to create an extension of the small mixed-use commercial, mixed-use community zone across St. Louis to incorporate his two properties. Is there anyone besides Mr. Hilton who wishes to speak in favor of this ordinance?
I have my hand up.
Who is that?
Councilwoman Davis.
Councilman Davis, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Sorry, I didn't see you.
I had my little computer hand up.
Oh, that's fine. Okay.
Okay. Yes, I'm a resident from the South Side my entire life. And I live 2 streets over from there. And from the time I was a little kid, that area, that corner has had either a foot doctor, a grocery store in that building. And I would have no objection. And I haven't heard from anyone who had an objection to restoring that corner to that kind of usage.
Excuse me. Hi.
Who is this, please?
This is Jack. Hi.
Jack?
So yeah. So
Jack, Jack, have you been sworn in?
No, I have not.
Okay, would you please? And
yeah.
Would you raise your right hand, please?
Yep.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. McKinney, can you tell us what your interest in the property is?
Yeah, so I actually have grandparents. I actually take care of my grandparents. I just graduated from university, so I came back to take care of them. And they've been living here since the 60s. It's one of the only houses on this street. And since I've moved back, my grandparents they don't get out, so I kind of do all their grocery shopping and everything. But they've just noticed at night at that location that the young man is talking about, there's just been a lot of activity over there that has my grandparents kind of sketched out. For an example, I think he might have had a party there maybe 2 weeks ago. There was like up to maybe 20 plus cars over there. I mean, I don't have an issue with anybody starting a business. I don't care. I'm not trying to cause any issues with him or anybody, but you know, there are still people that live here, and I just ask that he be considerate, because like my grandparents complain about the noise, the music. I don't necessarily what's going on over there because I'm not here most of the day because I'm at work. I just ask that if he is going to start that kind of business, that he does it in a more professional manner, because I really don't want my grandparents to be sketched out over anything. So.
Okay, and I
Mr.
understand.
Hilton,
And okay, I understand what you're saying. And what that was, I did have a party. It was a fundraiser for my grocery store. So I understand where you're coming from about that. But as far as like trying to do a club or anything like that, that's not my angle. That's not my goal. My whole plan is just to do a grocery store. So with all that taken into place of what you're saying, I understand. But with a grocery store in mind, your grandparents wouldn't have to worry, and they wouldn't have to go farther to shop neither.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I mean, like I said, they didn't even know exactly what it was. They just heard there's a whole bunch of music going on. I'm like, I don't really know what it is. So I just think they were just more or less curious, and they just really didn't know what was going on. I wasn't trying to cause any issues or anything.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, I'm pretty much know all the neighbors around here, but that's fine with me. That's what you're saying is okay with me. I have no problem with that.
Okay, I have no issues then. So.
okay, is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to speak about this case? Are there any comments or questions from the members of the board?
I have something to say about the property, Carlos's Hilton property. I'm Michelle Collier.
Michelle Collier, and have you been sworn in, Michelle
No,
Collier?
No, I have not.
Can we please be sworn in then?
Yes.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So, Ms. Collier, can you state your position here?
I'm the owner of the barber and beauty shop across the street at 2301 and 2307 Hillman Street.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been there for a couple of years, and I've seen Carlos when he bought the building, when he started the building, the property over there. We pretty much work together over there. Like when things, I have cameras that watches his area over there. He's constantly cleaning up. He helped me clean up. We support each other over there. I have never seen no problems over there, no issues over there. I think this should be a place for zoning for a commercial or his little grocery store, or make it into the zoning thing for business.
So you would be supportive of this? This change of zoning. Very good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who wants to speak on this issue?
To the chair, this is Marguerite.
Marguerite, yes, please.
I would like to know, at this grocery store, do you plan in the future to sell liquor or beer at this grocery store?
Mr. Hilton, can you unmute? You're muted. There we go.
Yeah, as of right now, no, I do not. I plan on just doing fresh produce and vegetables, more so fresh cut meats, stuff like that. Some packaged goods, but more so on the fresh side.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from members of the board and commission? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Mayor Brown,
I motion to accept the request of rezoning this plot for Mr. Hilson and his future grocery store there.
moved by Mayor Brown. Is there a second?
Second,
Who was
That's-
that?
Marguerite.
Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. Not opposed. I'm in favor. Sorry.
You're in favor of it, Mr. Sasha? Okay,
Yes.
very good. The motion carries. The next case we have on the agenda is also on Hillman Street. It is a request, it is ordinance 2063, reference 18-20, request by the city of Youngstown to change the zone classification of Youngstown city lots 1442 and 1443 from RT 5.51 and 2 family to MUC mixed use community. Is also located on Hillman Street. These are the two properties immediately to the and again, my apologies for the orientation. These two properties, you can see Mr. Hillman's property at 2304. These are the two properties immediately to the south. So someone who wants to speak on behalf of this zoning change.
I will speak on behalf of it. Well, I will explain it if anyone needs.
And this is Karen Perkins, a member of the staff, yes?
Yes. These are two properties that Mr. Hilton applied through our land bank. I just felt that it would be best if we sent them through for a zone change at the same time because they were currently in land bank, but just hadn't been transferred to him as of this date, but it has gone and been approved by Board of Control for the transfer.
So this would make the land bank transaction consistent with what the commission has just approved.
Yes.
And your recommendation, I believe, would be to that the commission approve this. Are there questions or comments from the members of the audience? Anyone else who wishes to speak on this?
Yes, I do. When I was having a fundraiser out here selling food, it was just like, you know, people was coming into their barbershop, grocery, hair salon. They was coming across the street buying food. It was just one hand washing the other. Just with a grocery store here, I know it'd be more of that.
And
So,
Mr. Hilton, what is your intention with this land bank land?
parking lot,
This
parking.
would be for parking. Okay.
Yep.
Because right now the parcel doesn't really have much in the way of parking. The buildings you have don't have very much parking. So this would give you off-street parking.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any questions from members of the board? Hearing none.
Excuse me?
Yes, Ms. Davis.
Yes,
Councilman
do I need
Davis?
to, by the way, before I go, do I need to be sworn in or anything, or am I cool?
Do we
I'll just
swear?
go-
Do we swear the councilman in? I don't.
I just have a
before, I know.
I have a question
Yes.
about the two lots and everything. Is there a projection of when there's going to be any kind of progress, any kind of blacktopping or any kind of modifications to those lots? I mean, I'm just kind of curious before property is turned over to an individual. Is it just going to sit there, or is there
No.
going to be some beautification done to it rather quickly?
Well, actually, it'd be done rather quickly. Like my whole process, I've been waiting all this time just for the zoning change. So my process, I just been waiting for zoning changes and stuff like that for me to proceed with anything I've been doing. As far as this right here, digging up that and starting the process on land, that's very easy. So it would be very soon.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'd like to move to approve reference 18-20.
Eric, if you've moved, is there a second?
I'll second. Patricia Smith.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance 2263. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Who is opposed? Okay, nobody opposed. All motion carries. Our next ordinance or next reference is reference 19-20, a request by Michael Sklepsko to change the zone classification of Youngstown Outlot 991 from an RS12 single family residential to an A/W agricultural wetlands. The property is located at 1796 Bears Den Road. The intention of the applicant is to establish a tree farm. This is, again, northeast to the left. This is a large parcel on Bears Den Road, and the intention of the applicant is to do a tree farm. Is the applicant here to speak on this?
Yes, I am.
Can you be sworn in, sir?
Sure.
Do you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
And your name, sir?
Mike Sklepko.
Okay, Mr. Sklepko. Can you tell us about your plan?
Well, I don't know what the zoning was in 1950, but when I was a child, that property was the Bears Den Fruit Farm. They had orchards there and gardens there, and I would go with my father to get vegetables and fruit that he would buy there, and I want to restore it back to that original designation.
Sounds like a worthy ambition. And then what sort of trees are you proposing to grow on it?
Well, I was either going to go back to having the orchards there, or I was considering planting the Christmas trees or whatever and using it that way.
Okay. Is there anyone here in the audience who wishes to speak on this issue? Are there any questions from the members of the board?
Hunter.
Yes. Chuck, is that you? You're muted.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry. He mentioned the applicant mentioned Christmas trees. Like a Christmas tree farm where you would grow and sell Christmas trees?
Well, people would come and cut their own, I would imagine.
Okay.
But that's
just wondering.
This is Lorraine Rohde, and I have a comment about this. I have not been sworn in yet.
I think you need to be sworn in then, please.
Okay, sure.
Would you raise your right hand, please?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Can you spell your name for me, please?
Sure. It's Lorraine. Last name is Rohde. It's Rohde. David Edward. You're welcome.
Hey, Ms. Rohde, go ahead.
So the interest that I have is that my home is across the street from this beautiful property that Mike has. And my home also has mineral rights. There are 2 natural gas wells on this property. And the gas company actually has right-of-way to those gas wells. The gas wells are fenced in. So I'm just wondering, how is that going to affect, his intentions? Those gas wells were put in, I don't know, probably 20, 30 years ago.
Gas wells are on the property in question or on your property?
No, they're on the property in question, on Mike's property.
Okay. Mike, do you have anything to say about the gas wells?
I don't know how they impact anything. They're just there.
Well, they're maintained almost on a weekly basis. The company that has those, just bear with me, they have those gas wells is called Everflow Eastern Partners LP, and they're located in Canfield, Ohio. And they do have a right-of-way to maintain those gas wells. And they do come by almost every week. So putting trees up, I mean, could affect that. I have mineral rights to one of those wells. So I'm a little concerned about that. I'm also concerned that putting a farm back up there could actually change the whole neighborhood to, you know, maybe devalue the house, because this is a residential community, as you can see on the map.
Well, they have access to those wells up the driveway for the property, and I'm not going to plant trees on the driveway. They're still going to have access to the wells. And as far as that property goes, it's been abandoned for 40 years until I bought it, and I've got a considerable amount of money improving it in that property. At least $2,000 in having somebody come in and mulch and with a forestry mulcher and
You
clear
do
a lot of
maintain
that
it.
land out. So
It's beautiful.
Grown, uncared for.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. You maintain it beautifully. You have kept that property better than I've ever seen. So that's not my question.
Well,
I was just,
change to devalue the value of everybody's property around there if there's fruit trees planted on it. That's my point.
Well, it sounds like the question on the easement for the roadway is that you intend to maintain that for obvious reasons, and I would suggest that Ms. Brody, you might want to talk to the people who you've granted mineral rights to.
The gas well, the gas well company.
Just to make sure, but it sounds to me like Mike would have no reason to block the access with a tree.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. That was my only concern. Thank you both.
That's
and
very
and I just want to make a note. He does keep the property. It's beautiful. He has maintained it at the very highest level that anybody could ask for. Yeah. So I just want to make that note.
Okay, I have a question.
You're welcome.
Yes. Who is this, please?
Shirley Kennedy.
Shirley Kennedy, have you been sworn in, please?
No, I have not.
Okay. Can you be sworn in, please?
Sure.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Kennedy.
Yes, I just have a question. My home is on 1845 South Shenley. It circles around his property, which I know that his property alone wants to be the wetlands, but I want to know how that affects my property value. Will it be considered a wetland?
No, it would not necessarily. The zoning is to preserve agricultural and wetlands. It doesn't declare a property that's not wet a wetlands. It simply allows for agricultural use, in this case, a tree farm. But it wouldn't.
It won't devalue my property?
Well, I can't speak to that, but I would imagine it wouldn't if the property is well maintained.
Oh, it's well maintained. I'm just curious of that, and if it's circled around the circle that I see, that has nothing to do with the wetlands.
The circle on the map, that's 300 feet from the property edge.
Correct.
Yeah. This, to be clear, the zoning is called agricultural / wetlands. It can be used to protect agricultural land or wetlands land. Now, it appears that this use would classify itself as an agricultural use, but it's not a declaration that the land is a wetland.
Okay,
That's
that's
an
all. Yeah,
that's an environmental declaration.
okay, that's all I was concerned about. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from members of the audience? Any questions from the members of the board? If not, I'd entertain a motion. Is there a motion to take action on this matter?
I'll make the motion
And your motion, Mr. Suarez, is what, to approve?
to approve, yes.
It's been moved by Mr. Suarez to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Who is this?
Eric Holm.
Eric, very good. Thank you. I'm sorry, I can't see everybody. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next case we have is reference number 20-20, ordinance 2261, request by Edward Schneitzer to change the zone classification of Youngstown city lots numbers 42168 and 42167 from an RS 7.2 single family residential to an MUC mixed use community. The property is located at 360 Midlothian.
Hunter?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
This applicant proposes to run a plumbing business on Midlothian. This is in the middle of a single-family residential district, and at the edge of the city, across the street is Boardman. I'm sorry. Who asked? Who called?
I was just going to ask you if you could bring up the current case, but you did. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Is Mr. Schnitzer here, please? Is there anybody to speak on behalf of this ordinance? Is Mr. Schnitzer here, please?
Yes.
Oh, okay, very good. Thank you. Can you be sworn in, please?
Yes, please.
Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Schnitzer, can you tell us why you wanted to put a commercial use in a single-family district?
Well, it's a very mixed zoning area here. I'm right on the border of a church, gas station, two multiplex apartments across the street. I've been here approximately 9 years. When I first bought the property, I had called Ray, the previous zoning inspector, told him my intentions. I wanted to run a small plumbing business out of the garage. There's two addresses here. There's actually a legal address of 360 and a half over the garage. It was an apartment when I purchased it. I did talk to him about making it my office. I employ 3 people. And at that time, when I talked to him, he said he didn't feel there was any issues if I was keeping it low profile. I don't have people coming and going all day. Usually the 3 employees come in the morning, get their work orders, and then leave.
So do you park any vehicles or anything on the site? That
No, the employees all take their vehicles home. What created an issue here is I do have multiple businesses, and I did have food concession business parked out in the front. And that's kind of what put a red flag up, because I've been operating the business here for approximately 8 years. To my knowledge, I've never had a complaint. But the trailer kind of set off a red flag. So they came and questioned me, and I actually didn't know I was allowed to not operate the trailer. And that's what kind of started things going.
And it's your intention to stop? You stopped operating the trailer?
Oh.
You're just going back to the plumbing business with 3 employees.
Yeah, well, what had happened was with the effects of the virus, all my events gotten canceled, and I was utilized some product and thought, having it parked in my parking lot here was not an issue. And like I said, once it was brought to my attention, I did cease and I removed it.
And immediately to your to the east is the Faith Fellowship Church and their parking lot. Is that correct?
Yes.
So you're buffered from a residential use there. And is the property immediately to the west? Is that a vacant lot?
I actually own that lot. Yes.
Okay. And your intention is not to change the zoning on that one, correct?
I don't know how they wrote it up, but I mean, basically, you know, the only what I'm worried about is where the building is at.
Where the building is, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you're
I believe the house and the garage are both on the same parcel. So it would probably not be necessary to have them both changed.
Yeah. I'm simply saying the vacant parcel that you maintain is still single family zone, so it's something of a buffer to the houses further to the west.
Yes.
Okay. Is anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on this case?
I would like to speak.
Ms.
I'm Cecilia
Boslow?
Boslow. Yes.
Would
I
you
have
be
not been sworn in.
okay? Would you please be sworn in?
Yes.
Could you raise your right hand, please?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Can you spell your name for me, please?
Celia, last name Bouslough.
Thank you.
Ms. Boslow, can you tell us your concerns?
Yes, I live a couple doors down. My concerns are, I've lived there.
What is your address? Can you tell us your address?
332 East Midlothian.
Okay.
I've lived there it'll be 30 years next year. We've always had a quiet neighborhood, even though he mentioned those apartment buildings, they've been quiet. The church has been quiet. The gas station is actually on there's a street in between his property and the church property and the gas station. My concern is that it's going to change the whole appearance of the neighborhood. There are a lot of vehicles. At one time, he had a lot of hot water tanks. My concern is if it's zoned commercial, then there's nobody to monitor what's happening over there. You know what I mean? And we all try to and he's done a beautiful job with the house that he lives in. You know, it's just gorgeous. But that one back area is just, I don't know. That's my concern.
That area has been cleaned up, ma'am.
Right, but you still do have in the past, I don't know, but there were a lot of vehicles. You said you addressed the concession stand, but there were big trucks. There was cars over there. Like I said, there was a lot of hot water tanks and whatever else, but you're saying that it's been cleaned up and they wanted to know my concerns, and those are my concerns. The rest from his property down is all residential houses. So it's not like it's a mixed thing where, it's all crazy, but those are my concerns.
Very good. Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to speak on this issue?
Can you hear me?
Who is this, please?
I just wanted to make sure you could hear me because I couldn't get my voice heard for the last one about the tree farm. I just wanted to see if I was coming across now. Thank you.
Yes, you are, sir. And who is this?
I live at 1842 Bears Den. I had questions about the tree farm, but I believe that one's over.
Yes, it is. I'm sorry.
To the chair,
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis.
Councilman Davis, yes.
Yes, I thank you, Cecilia, for making it to this meeting. I had feedback from Cecilia and I had feedback from two other people. They all expressed concerns about this proposed change. A primary concern was because the gentleman did throw the food trailer up there and in his front yard, and they were worried that if this change is made, then, and he did it again out of necessity or choice, that there'd be nothing we could do to make him take those trailers away once the change was in place. So I need a clarification. If the change is made, would he be allowed to have those food trailers? I need your opinion.
I would think he might be able to, but I would have to ask for further interpretation.
I can answer that. Yes, he would be able to have those food trailers because it would be zoned MUC-C, MU-C, mixed use commercial community. So that's commercial. So he would be allowed to have those there.
If I make a comment, if you guys are talking about only changing the one zone, the trailer actually was on the empty lot that you're talking about using as a buffer. And you were talking about possibly not changing that one. So I don't know. But trailer, there's no more thoughts of bringing the trailer back here to open up and operate.
So in terms of the trailer, you did not park it in the front yard of your house. You parked it in the vacant lot next door.
It was on the vacant lot.
And,
I mean,
and the vacant lot is not being changed.
Right.
In terms of the zoning.
Through the chair,
Yes.
just for clarification, because I had eyes and I could see, and that thing was in the front yard on at least 2 occasions. But I don't live there. But like I said, I had people who could have called, and they haven't. I'm just letting you know that I had 3 individuals who had an objection to the change, and I'm just transmitting how they felt. They did not think that this was a wise move, and I hate to see a business. No, I hate to see this guy have to go out of business and think that, but his actions brought it to their attention. And like he said, if he hadn't thrown those food trailers into the front yard in a residential neighborhood on Midlothian Boulevard, a food trailer, this would never even been an issue.
Yeah, I've been operating 8 years and I've never, to my knowledge, ever had a complaint. It wasn't until the food trailer actually was out there that someone had complained, but.
Through the chair, is it possible to table this to another meeting so I can get more feedback?
That would be up to the members of the board. Is there an interest on the members of the board in tabling this for further evaluation?
Hunter, through the chair, if I may, as the former 7th Ward councilman, if I could make a comment on this issue.
Please.
Okay, at one time where that location was the 7th Ward, and I was a 7th Ward council person. And when the gentleman that's the current owner moved into there, I was getting complaints all the time because of what some of the one of the ladies said. And there was trucks parked there early on in his business that were parked there overnight. That's a historic house. If a lot of people don't realize that house was where the first African-American doctor in the city of Youngstown lived. And my concerns is there going to be a sign put up there in the front because it's going to be commercial now. It's going to change the whole dynamics of that neighborhood. And I did get a lot of complaints, and that's why I'm not in favor of it myself.
Thank you, John.
If I may say, I have no intentions of putting any signs out.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Okay, having no intentions now doesn't mean down the line, sir, that you won't change your mind, and the zone change will already be done.
Is there an action either to table or disapprove, or perhaps tabling it would allow further study to determine whether there's some conditions that could be put on the use here to prevent signage and prevent parking and all the things that people are concerned with.
Through the chair, I have a question.
Yes, Councilman Davis.
And I guess this would be, Karen could probably help me out. If the zone change is approved, there's nothing we could do afterwards to make him be in compliance to us, signage or anything else. If we do it, it's a done deal and we're stuck. Is that right?
That is absolutely correct.
Yep.
Then through the chair, I would object to this zone change.
Okay.
To the chair, could I say something?
Yes.
Who is this?
This is Cecilia. I object also.
Okay, but fine. Are there other comments from members of the board at this point?
Hey, Hunter. Through the
Yes,
chair.
Mr. Shasho.
I guess as we're considering there's quite a few zone changes, and we've been going through quite a few here. And we just have to always remember on this commission that the applicant has a certain use in mind for these zone changes. But once the zone change is done, there's nothing to say that they can't sell the property and another business comes in that still may be in compliance with the zone change, but not necessarily in the best interest of the area. So, I mean, we look at what are you going to do to the applicant, but we also have to think of what could be done there in the future.
Yeah, it is a permanent change. Mr. Shashoff, based on your experience, is there something short of a zone change that would allow this business to stay, but not necessarily grant a permanent change in use?
That I don't know that's I don't really understand. I don't really know the process that well to comment on that. I know there's been like non-conforming uses and such, but I don't know how that applies here, or if it would. I guess it would depend upon when it was, how long it's been established, and I don't know, maybe Ms. Perkins might be a better person to ask.
Okay. Would there be an interest in tabling this issue for further study? Or does the board wish to disapprove? I think those are what I'm hearing.
Through the chair, I'll make a motion to deny this request. Swires.
Swires has moved to deny. Is there a second?
I guess I second it if I'm allowed.
No, you're not. This is
Oh.
you're not a member. You're not a member
Okay.
of the committee.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about members of the board of zoning
Hunter, I'll
appeals.
second it to get it on the floor.
Okay, so we have it moved and seconded to deny. Is there any discussion on the matter? All those in favor of denial, please say aye.
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 Okay, let me roll call that. So that would be Mr. Swires. Who else? Okay.
Eric Holm.
Mr. Shasha, what is your vote?
I voted aye.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to deny this, and it's passed. The motion is denied. I'm sorry, Mr. Snitcher, but it is denied. Okay. I think we can move on to the next item. This is reference 2120, ordinance 20-264, a request by Eugenia Tucker, doing business as Gina's Home Care, to change the zone classification of Youngstown City lot number 39642 from an RS 7.2 single family residential to an RT 5.5 1 and 2 family residential. This is located at 1555 Weston Avenue. This is the property. The applicant proposes to operate a rooming house on this lot. This is a lot, on Weston Avenue, in the middle of a residential district. Is anyone here to speak on behalf of this case?
Yes, I am here. Darlene Darby Baldwin is here to speak on behalf of Eugenia Tucker.
Okay, Ms. Baldwin, can you be sworn in?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Baldwin, can you proceed?
Yeah, so let me make a correction first that we did not propose to do a rooming house, which suggests that there would be people moving in and out and in and out, and probably would be a nuisance to the neighborhood. we are looking at doing a residential facility at that home, which would be housing, room and board for 5 people under a license through the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services. I am a consultant and mentor and partner to Eugenia. I have been doing business as such for 31 years. I sought to help Eugenia. She has been very good to the Youngstown community with many of the programs that she has already fostered, including working with Tom Gracie at the YMCA City Kids Care coat giveaways and camps that she's provided for the community. And so she has now wanted to do work with another population that has disability, and she has identified a property. These properties, while many are afraid and run from, are homes that we look to that do not deal with the stigmatization that many look at that comes with mental health. Therefore, we are asking for a change. You probably have many homes on your home and on the streets now or throughout the Youngstown or Mahoning County that have multiple people living together now amid the COVID. And so we are just looking at doing a population, which was typically called the family home, has now come to be called the residential facilities through the Ohio Department of Mental Health. And so this is what we are doing. We have submitted a license. We are trying to be and want to be very compliant. We do not want to come to be known in the community as that house. I have many houses right now. We have many houses right now, and they are not that house. They are a welcome to the community. We look for community partnerships. We look to eradicate homelessness, and we look to see what ways there are to stabilize these residents so that they can become functioning community participants. So that's what I have to say about that.
Very good. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this case? Are there questions from the board about this?
Through the chair,
Mr.
Swires.
Swires. Mr. Swires?
Karen is, this is the Karen Perkins. Karen,
Yes.
is this square footage enough to house 5 people in there?
Well, as far as zoning is concerned, we do not get into the square footage. We just make the determination of what classification, is going to be used for her proposed use. And we use rooming house because that classifies different people living in a home but are not related, but they are not cared for by the property owner or anyone else. So that's why we said it's a rooming house, but we do not go into the square footage.
All right,
thank you. Can I say something?
Yes.
So regarding the square footage, we under the license cannot just throw people into the rooming house. There is a template and a rule that they have to be 80 square feet for a private room or 120 square feet for 2 people in a room, and never 3 or more people in a room. That was disbanded some years ago. So 3 people can't reside. And in fact, we're waiting because it may not be 5. We may be looking at 4. And we were thinking that when the surveyor comes out, we were going to ask for a variance. Both your surveyor, Tara, and the state surveyor will come out. And so it may not even be 5. It may be only 4. and know that this home will be supervised 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We expect that this house will be supervised. And we will be very careful about the clients we pick. Having been in this business for 31 years, I know how to work with and pick clients, and I will be assisting Ms. Tucker on identifying clients appropriate for the home, for the area. I was also the state trainer. I was a state trainer for all of the group homes, including Mark Maley. I've trained everybody in Ohio on group home protocol, licensing, and just how to make a good presentation to the community. I think that's very important. It's very, very important to me. And when I'm training, I always tell my students, I always tell them to make sure you do not disrupt the community. That is just really, really important. So she didn't find a house anywhere. We found a house that would be somewhere where we would want to live. And that's what we want to do. We want to fix this house, make this house a home that I would want to live in, or I would want to bring my loved ones into, or that the community accepts. Many of these people too are able to help in the community. We're not throwing sexual offenders and all these kind of folks in there, but people who can be helpful, people who we can maybe help to be one day independent, and then therefore also treated with dignity and respect and openness.
Okay.
To the chair.
These are, excuse me, I have one question. These are fairly small bungalow houses on Weston Avenue. How many bedrooms are in this house?
3.
3 bedrooms. And so you would put up to 5 people in 3 bedrooms?
Yeah. Yes. There's 2 bedrooms that can accommodate 2, and 1 bedroom that can accommodate 1.
Based on the standards you just cited.
Yes, and then there's one bedroom that may be just off that she can ask a variance for, so that may reduce it to 4. It's a question mark whether it'll be 5. But upon having it surveyed, that's what we'll learn whether or not it's 4 or 5.
Was there another question?
To the chair, I have a question. This is Councilman Davis.
Davis, yes.
Yes. While this is not my ward, this is something that comes to my ward as well, and I always I'm glad I'm here to ask some questions. You said this lady, Mrs. Tucker, this is not her first home? Is that correct?
No, this is going to be her first home. Yes.
So this will be her first home.
Yes.
And owned this house, was this a house that she owned? Or
no, she's going to rent this house. She's going to rent it, and she's going to see if she can do this, if this is even something that she likes. And if she decides that it's not, then she will let it go. But she's renting it for now.
So she's renting a property in a residential neighborhood and wants to make it into a group home?
Yes.
To the chair, I would object to something like this if this was in my ward.
Do we have any word? Karen, have we heard anything from the councilman in the question?
I'm on the, I don't know if you can see, Hunter, I'm actually here. Thank you. Hello. May I speak briefly, please?
Yes, please.
I wanted to first.
No, wait, hold on.
Oh.
Councilman Madam Check, do you need to be sworn in?
Oh, yes.
Okay, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
And can you spell your name for me, please?
Basha, B-A-S-I-A. Last name Adamczak, A-D-A-M-C-Z-A-K.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Adamczak, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, I first wanted to mention that the house at 1555 Weston is actually a 2-bedroom home. Perhaps it was converted into a 3-bedroom, but as stated on the auditor site, it is a 2-bedroom home. I have a concern with turning this into whether it's considered a rooming house or whatever language or lingo we decide to use, I have concern from the residents of that neighborhood. And as much as I appreciate the presenter stating that they would make sure to put the correct residents or clients in that home, that's not something we would be able to maybe have the same process in the future if someone else were to take over, if the zoning were to be changed. This is one of the most stable neighborhoods in the 7th Ward and in the city, and I would like to see it remain that way. I don't feel that this is the right fit for that particular neighborhood. So I would have to object personally, as well as I want to state my objections as per the residents in the neighborhood.
So your sense of the community is that the neighbors on this street would object?
Correct. Yes, we have a similar house nearby that we've had a lot of concerns and grievances and issues with. So I don't think this would be a good idea.
This is in the Brownlee Woods neighborhood, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Councilman Squires, did you used to represent that area?
Absolutely, yes. And we have been, we've had, like Councilwoman Adams-Act says, we have been having some challenges with some of the group homes that are in the area. Even though they're supervised, things do happen, as we know. So I'm not in favor of this either. That is and I don't even know, I didn't get down there whether that's a basementless home or not. So it just seems like it's got to be a small, maybe 1,000, maybe less than 1,000 square feet house.
Yeah, it is a small house. It appears to have a basement, based on looking at appears to have basement windows.
Okay.
From the Zoom photograph, at least a partial basement. Are there any other questions or comments from the board?
Yes, to the chair. This is Ms. Baldwin. Could you tell me who will be supervising 24 hours, as you had stated? Who exactly will be in the home?
Ms. Tucker has the name of the staff that she's appointed, who she's been grooming for her group homes. I don't know their names.
Their mental health.
I've met them, but I don't know their names.
Okay, and do they specialize in mental health? Are there nurses that'll be on at the site? Or
no, they are one is a nurse aide. I know that.
Okay, will there be a social worker on site?
Well, so each person comes in with the case manager, a psychiatrist, and all of them may not be mentally ill. So some of them may come in with a psychiatrist, or they all come in with a case manager and a psychiatrist. Typically you have like visiting physicians to come in, to come to the house because they don't have transportation. So they come to the house to see them. And if there's some programs around, then they attend a program. I do know that Ms. Tucker was interested in purchasing a building to develop a program, a day program that not just her people, but all of the residents in Mahoning County could utilize. So, those are the things that happen for them. They typically don't have family members, so the staff, that's the family. Ms. Tucker, myself, and the people that she would hire, we are all considered staff. We all have to go through the same regiment of having background checks and everything to operate these homes. So it's a lot. It's a lot that goes into it for becoming a group home.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Did that answer your question, Ms. Douglas?
Yes, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments from members of the board? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Squires.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to deny the zone change classification for city lot number 39642. That's my motion.
It's been moved to deny by Mr. Squires. Is there a second?
Yes. Patricia
Who,
Smith.
who is this?
Patricia Smith.
Okay, right, okay. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of denial signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. This case is denied. The next case we have before us is reference 22-20, ordinance 2260, request by Donald Jones to change the zone classification of Youngstown City Lot 14321 from mixed-use community to an IG industrial green. This property is located at 2832 Indianola.
Good afternoon.
The applicant proposes to operate an industrial research facility on this site, which is on Indianola. So it's mixed use community, and they proposes to do industrial green in the middle of the mixed use community area.
No, it's commercial. You have to correct them. It's commercial.
Hello,
Who's
my name
calling?
is Donald.
Okay. Donald, is this Donald Jones here, Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Okay, would you be sworn in, please?
Could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly
Yes.
swear? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Jones, before we hear from you, Karen, are there any comments you have on the change of use from mixed use community to industrial green?
It's non-commercial.
It's this use, I don't know exactly what he's proposing to do. But from the application is some type of research facility that makes it not allowable in MUSC.
Okay.
That's why we're doing a zone change.
Thank you for the clarification, Mr. Jones. Can you speak to your proposal?
Yes, the purpose of this facility is to demonstrate a new polymer processing technology that allows normally incompatible plastics to be mixed into a new homogeneous material. This is a green, non-chemical. It's a mechanical process. There's no chemicals involved. It's just a matter of mechanically processing or compatibilizing plastics into a new homogeneous material. So the facility was originally built to just demonstrate the technology for other, produce raw materials for other people who actually do the processing into making plastic products. For instance, the fellow across the company across the street is high-tech molding and design. They have a lot of waste that we could probably reprocess and give it back to them to eliminate that as a waste product. So it wasn't really designed for a production. It's more of a demonstration facility and research.
Can you please and tell them?
You tell them. What is it? It's really like I said, the people across the street, they actually do process plastics, and it's designated as a commercial zoning. So this would be right in line with what they're doing across the street. So I would expect that it would already be zoned for the purposes that we propose.
This is in a fairly light industrial district, is it not?
No, it is not.
It's a commercial district? This is
It's a commercial, yes,
commercial district, okay.
yes.
Other comments? There's anybody else who wants to speak on behalf of this matter?
The chair.
Yes, Ms. Davis.
Councilwoman Davis, yes. First off, the area that he's, where Mr. Jones's business is located, you know, at one time, RC Cola was across the street. And as he said, there's a plastics company. It's all kind of light industrial over in that neck of the woods. My hairdresser, she's one building away from his. I have watched Mr. Jones as he's done work on this building. I've actually seen the inside of it. When I first got on council, I took a tour of the place, and I really was amazed at some of the equipment and things that he has inside the place. And I totally encourage him in what he's doing. And I hope that this committee would see fit to make that change on his behalf. The polymers and things that he's talking about putting together just totally blew my mind. He's invested a lot of money. He's made modifications with the electricity that's been brought into his place. It's not the standard 120, 110, 220. It's the heavy industrial breaker boxes. I'll call them breaker boxes because I'm kind of ignorant of what the right terminology is. But so far he's done everything. And in my discussion with him, he's going to do the modifications around the building. He's already done some cleanup, and he's going to make some other modifications to the lots around him. Right now, it's just a dumping ground for, right next to him are toilets, tires and things are being dumped, and he will make sure that that doesn't take place. So I would hope that this body would see fit to pass his request.
Very good. Are there other questions or comments from the audience? Are there any questions or comments from members of the committee?
Yes, this is Patricia Smith.
Yes.
I'd like a clarification on the zoning change. I think Ms. Perkins indicated that we were actually voting on changing the zoning to commercial rather than industrial green. Is that?
No, this is to industrial green from a mixed use community, which is largely commercial, but it does permit certain light industrial uses.
Clarify that.
And I would note that there are other industrial uses in the area, as both Councilman Davis and the applicant have spoken to.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. Welcome. Are there any other questions or comments from the board? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Chair.
Mr. Sashow.
At the end of the day, sir. I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of the city council for the
I'll second it.
Mr. Eric, okay.
I'll second it.
Who second?
So Eric Holm has seconded it. Chuck Sashow has made the motion. Is there any further discussion?
Tomorrow.
Who's this? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. The final item on this part of the agenda is reference 2320, request by Terrell Edward Tomlin to seek permission for transfer of a Terex liquor permit from outside the city of Youngstown to the city of Youngstown. The applicant must receive the endorsement of the city to do so. The property is located at 3305 to 3309 South Avenue. And I believe that's on a different file. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay.
Did you talk to Rick?
The applicant proposes to operate the old Isley's on South Avenue as a sports bar and grill. It is located in a mixed-use commercial district, and this would be a matter of transferring a liquor permit. Is there anybody here wishes to speak to the issue? Mr. Tomlin, do you want to speak to the issue? Are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you be sworn in, please?
Yes, please.
You raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So what we're asking is for a liquor license transfer. We've been in the building for a while. We're doing some updates to the building, actually. It's a sports bar and grill. Is it okay if I share my screen on what we're trying to propose here?
Rick, can you allow him to share a screen, please? Or do I have to stop sharing mine?
Yep. Let me just stop sharing yours.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Tomlin, go ahead.
Share desktop. It's my first time doing this, so I'm not sure. Can you guys see what I'm sharing?
Not yet.
Did I do this right? I'm not sure.
You see share screen at the bottom of the green tab down there?
Yes, and then it's asking me all these other questions. Go ahead, share it here.
Rick, is there something we can do to help?
There we go.
There we go.
All right.
There we go. Perfect.
Okay, here we go. So this is what we're proposing as a Red 18 Sports Bar and Grill. Let's see if I can. So we're like I said, we're operating outside of the old Isley building, which is historically a great place where everyone has gone before as a kid. Like I was born and raised on the south side of Youngstown, so like I remember going back in and actually going to that restaurant before when I was a kid. So it was a great opportunity for us to actually purchase the building and do what we want. We decided on the Sports Bar and Grill simply because I feel like it's a family-oriented place where we can come and it still has an old Isley feel to it. So, I mean, the sports bar is mainly going to be for family-oriented, to watch sports, entertainment, and to provide like a place where people can go on the south side of Youngstown that they can call their own. Now, I know there's not a lot of places where you can go actually to watch sports games unless you go to Boardman or Austintown where they have the Buffalo Wild Wings. Our goal is to try to make it more like a Buffalo Wild Wings area. So that way people can come watch exclusive events that they usually can't watch at home because they don't have the pay-per-view involved with it. So, and I know there's going to be probably issues with like security, which we are taking measures with. We have business with the Signal 88. They do the operations at Walmart, the security. We plan on having one armed guard and one unarmed guard. And we're also hoping to get like some representatives from the YPD to come up to help assist on weekends when the things do get a little busier for us. And I mean, that's one of our that's our goal. So it would be really nice if we could get that also. And it's the same thing that works like down in V2 where they have the armed security down there that keeps everything mellow and secure also. And we also plan on doing the like COVID measures and everything else. So the liquor license really help us improve and give everyone that good feel as a Buffalo Wild Wings. And we also make it pretty community based also. So it's pretty much like we've done book bag drives where we spent over $4,000 giving out book bags for the schools, for students in schools and everything. And we also have done, we also plan on giving out a bike giveaway also later on down the line around Christmas time. So we have plans to do things with the community also. So we plan on giving back because I'm born and raised in Youngstown. I've always wanted a way that I could give back to Youngstown because it's where I'm from, born and raised. So it makes it more close to my heart, especially because I'm doing something for my community.
Oh, these are the pictures of the building as it is today?
No, these are the pictures of the old Isley, what they used to look like. What you're currently looking at is the old Isleys.
Right, okay.
And then go down, it'll show the upgrades that we've done to some of it. I mean, it's not fully complete, but these are older pictures. We've done a lot more since then. Where we have the floor down. Like I said, we also have like a mural wall where we have like local athletes who's actually made it either in the league. We have Coach Chris also. And we also plan on, with that also, we also plan on sponsoring Cheney High School, which is I'm a 2007 graduate of Cheney High School. That's one of the reasons why I chose that school, because it's the school I went to. So we also have a lot of like local athletes that actually gone to the league that are from Youngstown, hometown people. I said I'm very hometown oriented, so it makes it a lot easier and more closer to heart when I do this. So, and that's the picture. That's going to be a light fixture in there. Everything you see here is going to be covered up with lights or a panel. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be very family oriented, close, and we don't want it to get too. We're not going to make it rowdy or anything. We're going to make it mellow, family oriented, where families can come, feel safe, and be safe and have a good time, eat basic bar food, and watch sports and cheer on their team.
Very good. And what you're requesting is that we endorse the transfer of a liquor permit from outside the city of Youngstown to the city of Youngstown in order for you to open this business. Is that correct, Mr. Tomlin?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments from members of the audience? Councilman Adamczak?
Thank you, Hunter. Through the chair, can administration or the law department please clarify exactly what a trucks permit is? Like, what are the requirements for the city to endorse a trucks permit?
Mr. Limbian, can you shed some light on that?
Through the chair, I would probably be doing a disservice because Dana Lance is our expert in that. Dana, if you're on, could you join in?
I am.
Dana, can you speak to that?
Yes, I can. Thank you. So a Trex permit is a liquor application process wherein an applicant is applying for a permit outside of the jurisdiction for which the permit will be used, because there are no available permits in the city where they're seeking to use it. So in Youngstown, we are overissued in this classification of permits by 5. Some pending applications and some overissued for a total of 5. So basically, when a person applies for a permit, excuse me, for this jurisdiction, they also have to have the endorsement of the jurisdiction indicating that this is a viable economic development project for this transfer to happen. So once the city endorses, or if the city endorses, the application goes down, and then the state of Ohio does its background check to determine whether or not it meets the standards they have for an economic development project, and make a determination as to whether they will issue the permit or not. But they won't consider that without an endorsement from city council.
And yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Dana. And follow-up question. If we were to endorse and approve this application, I'm assuming the liquor license is attached directly to the individual, not the location, correct? Like if he were to choose to move his location elsewhere, it would go with him, or it's specifically like attached, well, to him, but to the location as well?
So in Ohio, the licenses are held by a license holder, but any attempt to move that is subject to approval by the state. So if he attempted to move it to another location or sell it to another operator at the present location, the state would still review and make a determination whether or not that was permissible.
What does the city, Dana, what does the city have to do to determine a project to be a viable economic development project?
There are no parameters defined in the revised code or in the rules as it relates to the liquor commission. It would be up to the city and how they would determine that. So that's why this, while it went to city council to review, was the process was determined to go through planning, because they have the most particularized experience and expertise in this matter, the CPED department does.
Ms. Postula, do we have any comments on the economic viability of the project?
Our department, and Sharon's on the line as well, our department has not worked in conjunction with this plan. This plan was brought to us based on the endorsement of the liquor license. So our department has no inner workings of what the plan is. We all received the application, and Mr. Tomlin, if you can speak to the jobs and the revenue that it'll bring into the city for the commission to get more of an understanding.
Okay, so our goal is to try to bring in about, at the minimum, about 10 jobs to the community. Revenue, I think, is based about, to say, I wasn't exactly sure on the numbers when we did it, so we'll say about 15,000 a month or so. I'm not 100% sure on those numbers. I have to talk with my accountant and go through with that. But the goal is to bring in some type of revenue. About, I would say, averagely about 15,000 with the food, and maybe about 3,000 or 4,000 with the liquor license. Per
your goal is 10 employees.
So what?
You said your goal is 10 employees?
Yeah, about 10 employees, because we plan on actually like 10 employees with chefs, cooks, maybe a bartender, and also the servers. At minimum 10. Because we are such a small location, such a small sports bar, that we plan on actually expanding, which we have we're going to also open up our other idea, which is called Blue 42, which coexists with Red 18, which is another type of sports bar. This combined to it. It's not necessarily a sports bar, but it's just more of a fun area where you can go and watch the game also and have it and enjoy time. So that will actually allow us to have more employees. And it's literally right. It's the building conjunction right next door to it. So.
Oh, Ms. Adamczyk.
Thank you through the chair. Well, that's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask in terms of economic development, if the CPED department have spoke to Mr. Tomlin. But my other question is more from a legal standpoint. I know traditionally when we have liquor licenses, and then if there are issues in the neighborhood, I know it's a lengthy process to try to revoke a liquor license at times. How, in this situation, how would it be different since the city is endorsing the license? How would that differ from a legal standpoint if we were to have some type of problems in the future?
So during this process, the endorsement would eliminate the follow-up questionnaire that the commission gives before they issue the license. So if council were to do this, then endorse this, then the license will, if they determine at the state it's an economic development project, the license would issue, barring any other issues. As it relates to the objection, you would still have the opportunity to object based upon conduct down the road, but the likelihood of success on that are greatly diminished.
Okay,
Through the
thank you.
chair.
That answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes, Councilman Davis.
Yes, Dana. So if we were to support something like this, then we would no longer have the ability to have INS, the police department, do their investigation, and we would know nothing more about this gentleman's background than we do right now. Is that it? Dana?
Yeah. Attorney Lance?
I'm sorry, I was stuck on mute. That is correct, Ms. Davis. As you know, when council gets a liquor application and it's sent from the division at the state, council usually refers it to INS and planning.
Right.
So that is something that could be considered before the endorsement, absolutely, but there's not another opportunity after this, as this would be a council endorsement.
Thank you. I mean, through the chair, it's not in my ward, but no, I would always like to see the police do their investigation first before council makes a step like that. I think it's the prudent thing to do.
Ms. Lance, we are being asked here as the City Planning Commission Board of Zoning Appeals to recommend to the council the endorsement of this. liquor transfer?
It is my understanding, having spoken to Chief of Staff and the Director of CPED, that that was the agreed upon procedure. Yes.
Okay.
Through the chair, I can speak to that. So the reason we chose to go through planning is because when economic development under CPED is working with a potential business applicant to come into the city, there's either a land transfer, there's some type of zoning compliance, there's some type of financial ask of the city. This project in particular, he can open up this business right now without assistance from the city. This is based on the liquor transfer. So in speaking, internally and also with the mayor, we thought the best way to vet this out is through the entire planning commission. And as Attorney Lance stated before, this is a newer process for the city. I've even reached out to sister cities, and a lot of them don't have any process established because they have room for more liquor licenses under their cities. Whatever the limits are, they still have enough. There is a model that we looked at from Kent State and how that goes through legislation, but for vetting processes, it made more sense to come to a larger committee of minds and backgrounds instead of a CPED committee meeting where we would be presenting to council what our plan is with this business. We don't have a plan because we haven't worked in conjunction with the business owner from the ground up. I hope that makes sense.
Well, we are recommending that this proceed.
Correct. So we would need to recommend as a planning commission and not a CPED committee.
Through the chair, I have one more question.
Yes, Ms. Davis.
Dana, if this thing were to happen, those 5 people whose applications are out there right now, would they be pushed back because of the approval of this one?
If I may, through the chair, no, Councilwoman Davis, those are pending applications on file with the state. This is outside of that process. This is bringing a license from an outside entity into the city, so it doesn't affect that waiting list. I will tell you that after the census, however, we anticipate losing numbers of quota permits, because permits are based upon 1 permit per classification for every 2,000 residents. So over the last 10 years, we anticipate, that we did lose some residents. So our numbers, those over issued permits beyond the quota will increase. So we anticipate seeing more of these Trex type applications.
Under the Trev, there's a lot of sediment and a little water, and it could get them clogged.
Who's speaking, please? Okay. Thank you. Councilman Davis, any further questions?
Through the chair.
Mr. Squires?
Yes. I have several questions because I'm familiar with this building, and I'm just wondering what are the closing hours going to be for this restaurant bar?
Currently, right now, I'm sorry.
Yes, because there's a neighborhood,
Yeah, it is a very flexible neighborhood. So right now we're going to go with, because of the COVID measures right now, our closing hours, if we were to operate, we're going to be from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. because of COVID measures. But without the COVID measures, we're going to do standard operation hours like as a Buffalo Wild Wings or anything else is from 8 until 2 a.m. 2 a.m.
Okay, Mr. Tallman, I don't know if you're aware, but that grassy lot behind the parking lot, I believe that comes with the building.
Okay.
They had it, but you cannot use that for parking because we objected to that when the former business tried to do that. And because it's right in the neighborhood, you can't do that parking thing there. So that would be out. And
Yes,
then
I was understanding that. I was told that before. So
okay, all right, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Now, because there was 3 businesses in there, and they're all, the other 2 are party walls to the initial, Busy Bee Isley's. Are you going to open them up? Being an ex-firefighter, that concerns me,
So
they
as
are
far as
party walls. In other words, they're not separate.
Yeah, so I agree with you as an ex-firefighter also, because that's what I'm going into my career here in the military. So I understand where you're coming from. So our goal was to make that side like a Blue 42, a fun zone strictly for like like I said, TVs, a fun zone for adults where they can have like drinks and still watch TV and everything. That was going to be the Blue 42 side. Our goal was, I know that if we were going to tear down the main wall, which is that cement block wall that separates the two buildings, we would have to do a whole restructure of the entire thing, which I understand that. And that was going to be one of our goals. Currently, right now, we have to put that on hold because of we have to go through the structural things and do all the planning and things like that. So right now, we can't do anything with it. But our goal in the future is actually to open up that side as the Blue 42 side.
Okay, and one final question.
Yes.
With the opening of those up, and I forget what the seating is in the old Isley's part. How many people are you proposing that occupancy could be for that whole total structure then?
Between the two buildings combined?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm on the Isley side, which was small. I think it didn't have nothing but like, I think at minimum, like a 50-person capacity level on the Isley side.
Right.
So I think with combined, we could probably just do maybe like 100 combined on both sides. Like we'll do another 50 on the other side just to be safe. Because we don't want to go over. I mean, like I said, we'll abide by all the COVID laws and everything else with the social distancing and everything. Like I said, but combine both sides, we're looking about maybe a total of 100.
Okay. And then just my thoughts, my concern is there going to be enough parking there once you're up and operating? That's the problem.
Yeah, so with that, we actually been in cahoots with buying the old Dragon Palaces up the street. We're trying to get that building and use that as parking. So that way we're also far away from the neighborhood, which I know that's a big issue, so that we don't actually use our parking behind and around the building. So that way it limits the amount of like interaction with the neighborhood and the people that's surrounding the neighborhood. So we're parked up the street more. There's more closer to the street. There's no actual residents behind the building. So it allows us to have more parking and it keeps it away from the residents.
Thank you, and thank you for your service.
No problem. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your support.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion. So this would be a motion to endorse or deny the endorsement of the transfer of Terex liquor permit. Do any of the board members care to make a motion?
Hunter.
May I ask a question, please, Hunter? But you guys are just making a recommendation and then council will endorse or not endorse, correct?
Yes, this would be a vote to recommend the endorsement of the Terex transfer, or a recommendation to deny or a denial of the recommendation, no action. So is there a motion?
Excuse me, Hunter, before you do the motion, did you get the correspondence that I emailed you from residents who live within that 300?
I don't know if I have. I think I did, but I'm having trouble accessing those. Can you summarize those?
Yes. There's two letters, and one is from Catherine Thompson, and she's wishing that the recommendation would be denied. And the other one is from a Kathy Hupp, and she also is recommending that the motion be denied.
Mhm.
Okay, these can be entered into the record. So there's Catherine Thompson. Who's Kathy? What's Kathy's last name?
Kathy Hupp, H-U-P-P.
H-E-P-P.
Yes.
And they are neighbors to this property?
Yes. Yes. You want their addresses?
Yes, please.
Hunter.
Okay.
Yes.
Kathy Hupp.
Yes. Figure, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I have a question. Do the residents give reasoning or state specifically what their grievances? Because I kind of want everyone to understand that if I'm not mistaken, I believe whether or not Mr. Tomlin ends up getting a liquor permit, he could still have an operating establishment and a restaurant there because of the current zoning. So there would still be patrons there during those times, regardless whether there's liquor or not. Am I correct?
Yes.
So I just, I'm trying to, I guess I'm trying to understand what the grievance of the residents is. Do they just not want a liquor permit because the assumption is, you know, it would cause extra rowdiness? Or are they against having an establishment whatsoever? Because I'm not sure if they realize that regardless, Mr. Tomlin will be able to operate there under some capacity.
It's just a grievance of the business being there as a bar or restaurant, or just having people in that
So they
facility.
just, they're just anti having anything there, I guess, is kind of
Yes,
for.
basically.
Okay,
Yes.
well. Unfortunately, sometimes that's what happens when you live along a business corridor. Okay.
Okay. Are there
Through the
any?
chair, may I be heard?
Yes.
This is Jeff Limbian.
Mr.
May I ask
Limbian.
one question before I make a motion?
Yes.
If I'm understanding everything correctly, and including Dana, since I'm on this board, I sort of stayed away from the analysis and research. So if we recommended going forward, then that's only just really basically giving the council an opportunity to vote, correct?
Yes, this would be to enable the council to vote. The
right.
council is a group that endorses or denies.
With that said, I make a motion to recommend approval in order to allow council to consider the matter.
I'll second it.
Who is seconding it? Mayor Brown? It's been moved and seconded to recommend to council the endorsement of the transfer of a Terex liquor permit as stipulated in reference 23-20. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. So the next step is City Council, Mr. Tomlin.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Our final yes. Our final action today is a presentation by Jim Kinnick, who's come to talk to us about the give us an update on the Smart 2 project, which, as we all know, is under construction along Fifth Avenue, and most importantly, the schedule for phase 2. Mr. Kinnick, do you have a presentation to make?
I do, Hunter. I think it was sent in. I believe that you guys are going to queue it up for me.
Do you have it? Because okay.
I sent it to both you and Rick.
Okay, Rick, you want to queue it up? That's the Smart 2 one. Okay.
Perfect.
There we
Great.
go.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Thanks, Hunter, and thank you to the members of the Planning Commission for giving me the opportunity to speak a little bit about the Youngstown Smart 2 network. We've been talking about this for a long, I want to say 3.5, 4 years. Many of the people that are on this call have been part of that quest as we move forward on this. As the executive director of Eastgate, the planning organization for the region, I'm proud to provide this update today. If we can just click, I'll just tell you, Rick, to click, and we can move forward through the presentation, and it'll be brief. Just a little bit of background. Started with really a strong partnership with the university, WRTA, the city of Youngstown, certainly Eastgate, and the Chamber, Mercy Health, and it was to connect the city, the university, and Mercy Health safely with the additional apartments being built on Fifth Avenue, the students and the business professionals trying to get from downtown to Mercy and from Mercy to the university. This made sense. It's a lot of redoing the city streets, road dining some of the city streets, and then providing an autonomous shuttle that will circulate from downtown Youngstown up Fifth Avenue to the hospital and back down. Next slide, please. And that's the footprint of what we're trying to do. Again, I think a lot of you have heard this, and a lot of you have seen some of these slides, but it's been a while since we really kind of just gave an opportunity if anybody did have questions, but just more importantly to focus on that we are moving forward. One of the most important days for us was when we broke ground on Fifth Avenue, started seeing some physical construction. And as you can see by this map, the campus in the middle, Fifth Avenue, up to the upper left is Mercy Health, and then Central Business District. And all the streets highlighted in orange will have some type of improvement. Next slide, please. And that's been our what we'd like to say our poster child for our project. And that's really what it's going to look like. That's coming. That's the Fifth Avenue and Armed Services Boulevard signature intersection will be part of this project. As many of you have seen, and some of these next couple slides will show, we're under construction on Fifth Avenue. Next slide, please. These are some renderings. This is a rendering of what in the upper left is what existing Federal Street looks like. And then the larger rendering is the new look to downtown Youngstown when it comes to the streets. We'll have wider walkways on either side in front of the businesses. Certainly going to keep the boulevard effect, new lighting coming on all the streets we're putting on, and enhanced crosswalks. And really what it does is the parking will go from diagonal to parallel to provide that extra distance that we need. And then they're going to line the streets so it'll be a straight flow through as we move up and down Federal Street. Next slide, please. This is just another rendering, another look, and you can see some of the bump outs that we're going to provide for parking. But it's important to recognize to safely cross pedestrians in this tight urban corridor safely. You want to get those, the amount of time spent crossing the street as minimal as possible. And you can see with the bump outs at every intersection, your distance is just really across lanes and makes it a much safer area as we again promote non-vehicular transportation or flat out walking. So it makes it a more walkable community. Next slide, please. And this is just an aerial looking down of a plan view of Front Street. Some of the different things we're doing there is to recognize that Front Street will have a dedicated bike lane along the amphitheater area and then down to the Cavelli Center. That'll really tie in the bike path that's being under construction right now on Mahoning Avenue, which will reach us to Mill Creek Park. And then this takes you to South Avenue, which is a state designated bike route. It ties into a large statewide system, and we are looking for ways to improve that signage and make that a more safer path too. But this kind of just ties in and shows what we're looking at. That bike path that'll be available along that area will also be a multi-use path in the times when you have events at Cavelli and at the amphitheater. You could also see, it's a kind of a tough drawing to see, but a lot of work going to be done to Phelps Street to tie it in from front and really meet up to the construction that's being completed on Phelps at Federal Street. So again, it'll make the whole downtown more walkable. Next, please. That's the rendering of what's coming. When you look at Front Street as we are right now, you can see the green bike path, but again, next to that is the larger walkway, multi-use path, and then you can see the enhanced pedestrian crossings at every intersection. Next, please. This is, this is kind of a rough drawing, but I think what this is important to show, this is Fifth Avenue, and this you can see that there's construction going on out there now. I'd encourage you to take a minute to ride up there next time you're through town. You'll start to see what we call a road diet, where we took 5 and 6 lanes down to 1 lane in each direction. You can start to see some of the boulevard islands being built. They've been pouring the 10 to 12 foot multi-use paths that are going to line both sides of the street. You also see some of the bump outs for the transit stops, which will be the autonomous shuttle when we get to that point. Next, please. Again, these just, I think the next couple of slides, just I had somebody take pictures. We log where we're moving with this project. And this just shows some of the physical construction. Next, please. Again, this is a crosswalk that's been stamped and put in. The Ys in the middle of this one haven't been painted. They'll be done at the end. And then there's certainly another coat of asphalt to come, but it's progress. Next, please. Another good slide just showing some of the islands. That's a smaller island because the one way in each direction will also have it at some of the intersections have a left turn lane. So you can see we get down to a small median when you have a left turn lane. Next, please. Yeah, I think that's our last slide on the construction on Fifth Avenue. Next. And what I wanted to provide the Planning Commission to keep you up to date where we're at. The project timeline, phase one, there's 3 phases to this project. Phase one has been Fifth Avenue construction, which got underway this past spring. That'll take this year and next year to complete. Phase two is the other 7 streets that'll be constructed. It's Front, Federal, Commerce, Park, which will run from Fifth Avenue to Mercy Health. Rain Avenue will be repaved, and then Phelps Street, and then Fifth Avenue from the Madison Avenue Expressway to Park Avenue. That's a contract's in a pre-bid. It's a design build project. That'll be pre-bid. I believe it's in the next couple of weeks, and then be awarded to a contractor. That looks like that'll go through 2021 and 2022. And then we hope to sell the final phase, which is phase 3, which is the implementation of the autonomous shuttle, with that being breaking ground or taking off, I should say, in the spring of 2023. Next. That concludes the slides I have. I can tell you that part of the project is going to do several other things. We're also looking at, I don't know if anybody even noticed, we had an award given to Eastgate. We put in for monies to put conduit in the ground on all the streets that are being reconstructed. That conduit will, we're working towards marketing and managing fiber for high-speed internet connections along the entire corridor. We have a committee with the city of Youngstown, Youngstown State, and Mercy Health to bring high-speed, helping us to bring high-speed internet to areas that may not have that in the downtown urbanized area. We're also going to be looking at some parking as we move forward with the city. Also taking a look at some ordinances and directives, possibly making some recommendations for loitering, smoking, and patios. One of the other areas that hasn't been covered in that grant was some of the areas around Eastern Gateway, some sidewalk projects along there. And then Walnut, we're looking to more of a sidewalk project in with Eastern Gateways and the city's concurrence going up Walnut Hill with taking out that pavement and putting a staircase to connect the community college with the tech school. So really a lot going on. Excited for the city, excited to be part of it. We're a neighbor here on Federal Street, and we appreciate everybody's support from the Planning Commission in the city of Youngstown. We had a meeting earlier this morning, just a progress meeting on some updates, and was kidding with the mayor. We've been at this for, I don't know, but I think 3 years now, maybe even longer, but it's nice to see this, all the hard work come to fruition and see a project actually being developed or being built, I should say. So with that, I'll open it up if there's any questions or anything else I can answer. Other than that, I'm free anytime that anybody needs anything else from me for additional resources for this project or any other projects, because we appreciate being part of the city's revitalization. Thank you.
Mayor Brown, do you have anything to add to this presentation?
I do not. Every time I see it, I get excited. I think the one thing we talked about earlier today was that how once we got the grant, how it branched off, and we're starting to see more investment happening.
Sorry, Mayor, you don't have any
transportation
audio.
With our broadband. So it's getting individuals excited about it. You got public dollars, but also you're seeing a lot more private investment, and that's the goal, and that's what we want. So Jim and his team has been doing an outstanding job. It's been a labor of love for us. I actually drove up Fifth Avenue today because I saw it was open, Jim. I said, well, let me take a ride. I got up to Rand Avenue and I made a left. I didn't want to, no, I'm sorry. I went to Lincoln and made a left. So I didn't want to go up any further. I made a left at Lincoln. I was impressed with the progress that we've made. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you for the presentation.
Yep. Thank you, Mayor.
Comments from any of the any other members?
Jim, I just wanted to say the aesthetic improvements are amazing. It's really going to lift up the area. Yeah, I've watched it closely. I did have one question in regards to downtown and Federal. There's a reduction in parking. Sometimes it was already kind of tight down there.
Right.
Where's the overflow parking going to be?
Well, that's a great question. Work with the city, considering putting in requests for proposals from parking vendors or, consultants that study this to take a look at what we have. there's a parking plan that was put together by Eastgate a couple years ago. I'm certainly no expert on parking, but it studied that there is plenty of parking. It's just that people don't know where to park and how to get there. I think we need to work with the city and come up with a plan to manage it better, to highlight what's available and provide those types of maps and information to the public so they can find parking. And thank you for your comments too.
Oh, it's great. Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I have a question about the autonomous shuttle. Now, is that going to be what a regular bus fare, or will people be able to ride that for free? And will it go throughout downtown, or just on the main street?
The autonomous shuttle route is going to be run by WRTA. I'll defer to them for what the fares would be. I haven't heard anybody talk about anything special there. The routes are still being looked at. I know one route is possibly looking at two separate routes. One will certainly be from Federal, the WRTA station on Federal Street and Fifth Avenue up to Mercy Health and loop back down the same streets up Fifth Avenue over Park. We're going to turn it around on Park and bring it back down over Park and back down Fifth Avenue. Second route's talking about circulating the downtown area down Federal Street and maybe looping around on Front. We're still looking at the best route. What we want to be as flexible is if there's a football game or if there's an event at Stambaugh or Cavelli or something going on at the amphitheater, we want to be flexible with some of those routes. But we're really almost 2 years, 2 years out. We're still working on planning, and we're going to reach out here and for some public input here in the spring on some of these initiatives. They're still been out, so we'll gladly take consideration any thoughts people have.
Thank you, because my concern is that if we're going to take away parking spots on Federal Street and then send people down to parking lots far, far away, then we need to have that shuttle make that route so the people who are in those more distant parking lots can go up there and jump on that shuttle.
I completely agree.
Are there any other comments or thoughts to share with Director Kinnick?
To the chair, this is Marguerite. I just want to say that I am so excited to see this happening in Youngstown. I've lived in Detroit and I've looked at other plans in other larger cities, and I'm just so glad to see this happening in Youngstown. And the question about the parking, that's one reason why I don't go downtown a lot, is because of the parking situation. And I just look forward to this for seniors that talk about, not wanting to go downtown and things like that. And when things are happening at the university, I hear a lot of teenagers and older people that talk about, when things are happening at YSU, finding parking spaces, or they don't want to go to different events that's happening at the campus. But now with this coming about, I'm sure people will be coming out in groves. So I look forward to the finished product. So I thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Kinnick, for all that you all are doing and bringing to our city.
I appreciate those comments. Thank you.
Absolutely. Through the chair.
Yes.
Just one last comment, and Marguerite brought it up, and it helped me recognize just prior to COVID, a team of us went down to Pittsburgh to see about how they handle parking in places like Pittsburgh. I think Jim talked about getting a RFP where we can find out big cities and other cities and what they're doing. So we're going to take a piece of this, what we have, and we're going to put it out for proposals. And we want to be on the cutting edge. We want to make sure that we are looking at our parking issue in a situation. We're putting, all this investment into our downtown. We want it to be easy to maneuver around. Like Jim always says, where do I park at night? Or what's the time? Where should I park if I'm going to one restaurant versus the other? Do they have a designated lot? So those are all the things we're thinking about and we're working on. So stay tuned.
Great.
Hunter?
Yes.
A little levity right here. Mayor, I want you to remember that I have a golf cart. I'm on a fixed income. I can take my golf cart downtown, make myself a little extra change. If you allow me to ride my golf cart, I could take other senior citizens like myself around if you would let me.
Do you
I'll
have do you have seatbelts?
I could put them on. No, hey, I could be an entrepreneur. Thank you.
As you know, Councilman, the city is all about supporting entrepreneurship.
There you go.
That's
there you
right.
go. All right.
Okay, if there are no other questions or comments, I want to thank you, Jim, for a very good presentation. Thank you for patience. It was an unusually long meeting. I just do want to thank the board members for their actions today. I think by staying close to the code, I think, and focusing on hearing everybody out, I think we've had a very good set of outcomes today, and I appreciate your time because I know it comes at the expense of other things. So with that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Second.
Meetings adjourned.